Pastry cream. I'm going to show you how we're going to get started. I write our formulas that you have to go off of for lab in kind of, I hope, in the order that we incorporate everything. So I want you to look and see at the very top, we're making a large batch of pastry cream because we're doing eclairs and French fruit tarts. We're doing the 1.5 batch. What I want you to see is I have milk, heavy cream, sugar, and vanilla bean, and those ingredients go into my sauce pot on the stove, and I'm going to bring those up to a boil. I've scraped my vanilla bean, and I have 1.5 in there. I have my sugar, my milk, and my heavy cream, and I'm going to bring this up to a boil. While I'm doing that, I'm going to incorporate, because we're tempering, I'm going to take and put what we're going to temper into our egg yolks, and with our egg yolks, pastry cream is one of the egg products. We're adding cornstarch to it, so it sets, and I like pastry cream. It sets as stiff that you could almost cut it with a knife. That to me is great pastry cream, and then it's really kind of universal on how we're going to use it. I'm going to add, I like to go wet to dry, like I've talked to before, and so I have a quantity of sugar that's in that second component on the formula, and I have cornstarch, and I'm going to put my dry in first. I'm going to break my cornstarch and my sugar up together. I'm going to take a whip and break the sugar up into the cornstarch. What we're trying to do is really have no lumps. Every great pastry chef has to know how to make pastry cream. Suppose if you go in and you're applying to be an executive pastry chef, you make a gâteau Saint-Honoré, puff pastry, pâte de choux, pastry cream, spun sugar, all the great techniques that you need to know as a pastry chef. So if you're going to learn pastry cream, you have to know how to make beautiful, creamy, delicious pastry cream. Creme patisserie. I almost call it pâte crème. Creme patisserie. So here we go. So I have that. Then I have a milk. I can get the lid off. Milk and a heavy cream in smaller components, and I'm adding to this because I'm adding my wet to my dry. If I can get my lid off. Oh, there it goes. And I have egg yolks, and I'm going to add half of my egg yolks. And I'm going to stir this so I create a lump-free base. And I want you to do it the same way every time. I can't stress enough. I see students who don't listen and add the dry on top of the wet, and you just get a lumpy, curdled mess. We want all that cornstarch to be a part of our pastry cream and to thicken. And we're not going to do that. We're going to create lumps. And what we're trying to do is go in with no lumps. Solely by using our mixing method. So you can see I have a nice creamy product, and I don't have any lumps. I've incorporated my sugar, my cornstarch, a little bit of milk, a little bit of heavy cream, and now I'm just going to come in and incorporate the rest of my egg yolks. I'm going to have this come up to a boil. I'm going to show you what we do once we get a boil going. We've brought our cream up to a nice boil. Cream, milk, vanilla bean. You can see it's got, you don't want to pull it until you got a good rolling boil. I have my egg yolks, my sugar, my cornstarch over here, and I'm going to temper very carefully because I'm reaching across for this video. So you can see, I pour it with authority. Let's beeping at myself here. And I boiled it at an 8. I'm going to turn this down to at least a 4 to start. And I'm going to pour the rest of this product that I've now tempered. I've risen the product of my eggs. Oh, whoop. I spilled a little, but you can't see it, so I like that. So I brought myself down to a 4. I thought I was going to do it. I was so impressed with myself. Clean myself up right there. There. So I dropped my temperature down. I have an ice bath that's ready to go. Pastry cream has to be ice bath. So I brought this temperature down to a 4. I've not made one on these induction burners before, so I'm going to give this a shot and see how I like it. The minute I start seeing my foam on the top that you can see start to disperse, I know the product is starting to cook on the bottom, and so I really want to get aggressive with whisking it. You can't leave a custard once you put it back on the heat. You can't walk away and think, we're going to come back to that. So I'm going to stand here and stir. And like I said, I'm at a 4 right now. I'm going to see how I like that temperature. If it starts to get too hot, the beauty of, and I have a hot pad here, of being worried that it's getting too hot and it's burning, because that's what we're trying not to do, is to cook it low and slow, is pull it off the heat. Really, that's what you have to do. You're in control. You are the master of your own pastry cream. And you can see I still have that foam on the top. And I'm going to bring that heat up. And to be honest with you, the slower I go, the better it's going to be. I'm not in any hurry. I'm going to get all my corners, and I'm going to use a whip or a whisk. I'm not going to use an offset spatula, a rubber spatula, a high heat spatula. I made myself laugh. But what happens is, like I said, so the heat is really coming from the bottom up. We're stirring to really get that heat dispersed, to activate that cornstarch. And like I told you, cornstarch gets thick about 185, 188. So what we want to do is bring this to one boil. One boil in the middle is all I'm going for. And I can see heat's coming through because I have steam coming off the top of it, so I must have the correct heat. So we're going to keep stirring it. And I'm going to stop it and start it because I can only put so much content on YouTube. I'm going to bring it back when it starts to thicken.